Day 1. A neighbor's scream wakes you up early in the morning. He lives in the house across the street from you, and you often talk to him through open windows. Now, for some reason, he's calling you, and his voice sounds worried. He keeps yelling. Angry, you get out of bed, go to the window, and are about to scream at your neighbor to leave you alone and let you sleep. But as soon as you open your mouth, you freeze because you don't see your neighbor in the window. You don't see anything. The sky, the trees, the street, people, cars, everything is absorbed in gray fog. It's so thick that you can't see further than 10 feet. You take a selfie stick in your outstretched hand, and you don't see the other end with the phone. You calm your neighbor down and say that everything is fine. You turn on the TV. All the news channels report that last night a thick fog covered the entire planet. No one knows the exact cause of this anomaly. Scientists from all over the world are trying to... You turn off the TV and go outside to see everything with your own eyes. You leave the house and find yourself in a gray, dense nebula. You can only see the road under your feet and hear the city sounds. You're walking slowly down the street. Human voices echo around you as if they were from another reality. Silhouettes of people suddenly appear out of the fog and quickly disappear. A car horn sounds to your left. A truck sweeps a few inches from your face. It disappears into the fog, and you can hear it stop. Someone is crying loudly and calling for their mother. You step on the branches of a fallen tree that a car crashed into. Ambulance sirens sound, glass breaks. Several people run past you and push you. You don't see the curb and fall. You decide to go home, but can't find your way there. So you use a navigator. A week later, people install powerful headlights on cars to drive around the foggy city. But still, every day there are huge traffic jams on the roads. The operation of all navigators is disrupted, as the satellites can't get a clear image. The fog isn't thinning and doesn't leave. There's a shortage of lanterns and warm clothes in stores. Now it's cool, even in the summer. Fog is a cold stream of air descending on warm water or land surfaces. When warm air combines with cold air flows, it begins to cool down and emit steam. The air becomes damp and fog forms. In simple words, fog is a cloud that flies near the ground. It makes the temperature drop. Open-air summer cinemas are closed. All city fountains are turned off. Urban residents are moving to villages closer to nature. It's impossible to leave the city quickly. Huge traffic jams and the risk of crashing into someone's car slow down the process. Water droplets release into the atmosphere because of the fog. Then dust particles stick to them, and this makes the fog even thicker. Exhaust gases, dirt, soot, tons of dust from roads and streets. The city is filled with this. All the dust becomes tangible and moist, which makes it hard to breathe. You go out in the morning and return home in the evening, and your clothes and skin are covered with a layer of damp dirt. On the streets, you feel like you're walking through a thin layer of water. People now get sick more often because of the high humidity and cold. Ordinary clothes quickly deteriorate, so everybody puts on raincoats. Huge heaters are installed in the city to warm the air, but this makes the situation worse. Cold air collides with a huge amount of heated air, and the fog becomes thicker. The warmth comes not only from heaters, but also from power plants. The urban climate resembles the climate of the Amazon jungle, where the heat is mixed with tropical downpours. The temperatures are going up and the air gets moist. You go to the store to buy food and hear a woman screaming. You're trying to find her to help and feel like something is crawling on your feet. It's a big centipede. You shake it off and realize there are too many crawling creatures on the road. A flying beetle crashes into your face. A humid and warm climate are ideal conditions for the population of some insects. Cockroaches, centipedes, huge spiders, and other large beetles are everywhere. Now, people buy not only flashlights and raincoats, but also insect repellent. Power outages are now a common thing in buildings. You're sitting in your room, and the light goes out. The TV, microwave, and computer are turned off. You hear hundreds of small paws running along the walls. You and other residents run out of their houses. There's panic on the streets. People demand that the fog problem must be solved. Scientists say they'll find the exact cause of an unusual natural anomaly soon. But you don't believe them. You're going to leave the city soon. 1 month later, huge, powerful fans are installed in the streets. They improve visibility a little, but it's still not enough. Wet air creates unfavorable conditions for the work of iron parts. Fans quickly fail and rust. To lower the air temperature, the authorities periodically turn off the electricity for several hours. But this doesn't help, since there's still a lot of heat coming from cars. People keep leaving the city. You've been stuck in traffic for almost 5 days, and now you've finally managed to get out of the city. You're driving on a long highway. The houses and dusty streets are far behind, but the fog hasn't disappeared. It's not so thick, but now it's much colder outside. 3 months later, you live in the village, in your sister's house. You work on a farm, fish in a lake, and chop firewood. However, despite the clean air, it becomes difficult for you to breathe. You've also noticed your sister and other villagers are in a bad mood all the time. You don't remember the last time you smiled. One day, you look at the sky while fishing and realize what happened. The fog is blocking access to sunlight. Plants and trees need the sun to use photosynthesis to absorb carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. Our planet receives most of the fresh air from seaweed and phytoplankton, which are located on the ocean surface. But the fog managed to get even there. The planet might run out of reserves of already developed oxygen in a few years. The Earth's atmosphere can completely lose its properties. Without the sun, plants can't bloom. Crops are spoiling all over the planet. Food prices are rising, and there are not enough food supplies. You understand it can lead to famine, so you build thermal bases on the farm. You grow vegetables and fruits there. Millions of farmers around the world are starting to build greenhouses together with you. Huge stations with artificial light sources of incredible brightness are being built in all oceans. This helps seaweed create new oxygen reserves. People become angrier and more irritated because of the lack of sun. You're under stress and feel uncertainty, just like everyone else. You remember your trip to Norway and other countries near the North Pole. In those places, the polar night comes in winter, and during this time, people don't see the sun at all for almost several months. But despite this, they feel great, all thanks to the decorations and festive atmosphere. 6 months later, you and other villagers have decorated houses with bright lights and garlands. In the center, you build a stage and play the guitar every evening. The feeling of holidays and daily meditation improve people's mood, but the longing for the sun still remains. A year later, scientists have found out the atmospheric pressure on the planet has completely changed. All the clouds that were in the sky are now flying on the ground. Flights to the lower layers of the atmosphere are organized all over the world. You often fly there on a small biplane. After the gray, wet fog, you get into blinding sun and blue sky.